Hi everyone, I'm Madeline, a small business owner, and this is the story of how I fell for a Shopify scam. So, a little background first. I am a small business owner. I sell hand painted press on nails on Shopify. This is my first time using the Shopify platform, and I made my website by myself without professional help. So, I researched a lot and made all my different policies and stuff to make sure I was setting up things correctly. Then one day I got an email from this email address. It mentioned that my website was non-compliant with WCAG standards and that my account could be suspended if I didn't correct this in 48 hours. They also mentioned that they had tried to contact me earlier, but I didn't receive any contact prior to this email. After reading this email, I went to Shopify's help center, and since they don't have a phone or email advertised for customer service, I used the AI assistant chatbot. So I told the chatbot that I had received this email from that email address and what the content was about. Then it gave me some information about what the WCAG standards are and how I should go about fixing them. So this was the information that I got from Shopify's actual website platform. I didn't talk to an agent since the chatbot seemed to give me the answer, and it didn't say that it was a fraudulent email address. And it seems like there was a connection from the email and the chatbot both saying that I did need to comply with these laws. So then I did some more research about the WCAG standards, which I actually had no idea about before when I was making my website. If you don't know what that is, basically there are laws for making your website more accessible to differently abled people. For example, interactive things on your site like clickable buttons have to have a specific color contrast ratio between them and the background. And text also has to have a specific color contrast ratio. Also adding text descriptions to all of your media on your website. And if you're selling to Europe, you have to adhere to more strict accessibility standards than if you're only selling to the US. I'll put the link to these laws below if you're interested, and let me know if you want a video about this topic. So I went ahead and updated all the necessary things on my website so it would be compliant with those laws. I believed at this point, if there was a problem, that they would email me again and I could ask them more specifically what I needed to fix. Well, about a week after the first email, I did receive another email. Now I see that it's from a different address than the first one, but at the time I assumed it was from the same address that contacted me because it's about the same issue. And also, I had no reason to believe that this was something shady happening. This email was more urgent and said that my website was still not compliant and that it would be shut down in 24 hours. Now here's where it may start to get more obvious that this is a scam. But at that point, I felt pressured and I didn't have many options since I believed my website was going to be shut down. Plus the fact that Shopify customer service didn't say anything bad about that email address, so I assumed this was really from Shopify. So the email had a link to a Telegram chat, and Telegram is like a third-party messaging app that's pretty widely used. And I thought it was weird since Shopify has that customer service chat on their website, but I thought, oh, maybe it's different since it's more of like a legal situation. So I thought maybe they needed a different platform to resolve those issues. So anyways, in the end, I downloaded Telegram, I made an account, and I joined the chat to see if I could talk to the agent about how to fix my website and make sure I didn't get it shut down while my sales period was currently running. I explained a bit about the email that I got and what I did to remedy the WCAG issues, and asked what I should do to fix my website to make sure that it wouldn't be taken down. And someone on the other side responded pretty quickly and explained that they checked my website and there was still a pretty big issue with WCAG noncompliance. They even sent an image of a compliance rating chart that showed my website's compliance score being lower than the threshold of what was needed to pass the standard. It was really convincing. And I explained again what I had fixed and asked specifically what I needed to change to fix those issues. Because from my side, it seemed that I had done everything I could. They responded saying that the reasons why my website was flagged was because of color contrast issues and media on my website that was non-compliant and other things. I was so confused at this point because the things that they were telling me to fix were the points that I had already adjusted on my website, and this person wasn't helping me pinpoint the real issue. When in reality, there was no issue because it was just a scammer and they were just trying to convince me that there was still something wrong. That's when they mentioned I could get a compliance kit to make sure that my website would be in line with the WCAG guidelines. I asked if it was something that I had to purchase, and they told me yes, but it was the best way to check if my website was compliant. I already knew that I wasn't going to buy anything, even though at this point I still thought it was a real customer service agent. I went back to asking what else I could do to fix this problem. And then they told me my website also had an issue with my theme license and that my account is currently being suspended due to these violations. So now, during this chat, I'm getting pretty distressed. I went into my actual Shopify account to check out what was going on, but everything was still working how it should. So I was getting really, really confused about what was happening. And looking back on it, it seems really obvious that something was off. But at the time, I was just focused on trying to solve the problem. I explained that the theme I used to set up my website was from Shopify's free themes, and there was nothing mentioned about licenses when I used the template. Then they sent me some code from my website that had some portions highlighted. And I know how to read some code, so I was confused because the code that they were referencing made no sense in respect to the conversation that we were having about licenses. They had highlighted certain countries under my shipping section of my website. It made no sense. I assumed that they'd pulled the source code from being on my website and then in the browser using the source code from that. And then they just edited it a little to make it seem like there was some issue they detected. At this point, I was super confused because things weren't adding up. And now they were saying there were multiple things going wrong with the WCAG compliance. And now this license thing. And then the person mentioned, oh, I should also purchase a license compliance kit to make sure that that would fix the issue on my website with the license. And that's when I was like, this has to be a scam for sure. But I was still kind of unsure since I assumed the information that I got from the Shopify AI assistant in the first place would have mentioned that this is not one of their emails that they use for customer service. So what I did next was I went to Reddit to see if anyone had run into this situation. And there were multiple people stating, yeah, this was a scam. So I deleted my Telegram account, reported them to Shopify, and this time I made sure to get in contact with the real Shopify customer service agent through their webpage. And the associate gave me a list of emails that Shopify used to contact people. So these email addresses will be how Shopify will contact you. So yeah, you may be sitting here thinking that was a really obvious scam, and how did you get that far into believing it? So first, like I mentioned many times, it was partially because I was not told that this was a fake email. Also because I was kind of pressured into having a sense of urgency about my website being shut down. Not to mention that prior to this, I did not know about the WCAG standards. It's my first time making a website, so it seemed like a reasonable thing for them to contact me about. And lastly, the presentation of the scam was pretty believable. The emails looked really similar to Shopify's setup. They had a Canadian address at the bottom. And when I was chatting with them, they were pulling up charts and code and things that were based off of my actual website. So in that situation, I was pretty convinced. Anyway, just wanted to share that story so that any other people thinking about starting a small business or people who use Shopify currently can be aware of scams like these and try and avoid the same situation. But I guess in the end, it kind of turned out to be a good thing since I had no clue about those accessibility laws for websites. So I learned something new and I was able to adjust my website because of it. Hope this video was helpful, and thanks for watching to the end. If you have any experience with scams related to this one or have had a run-in with this one yourself, please leave a comment so you can share your story and others can see what they should look out for in their own businesses. Thanks again. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.